lot of you have been requesting that I make a video around this particular topic, and that's precisely what I'm going to do. I really think it's about time that I talk about this reward pass that's coming to Pokemon Go, and talk about all of the things that are wrong with it, but also some things that might be okay with it. So yeah, what's going on everyone? Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon Go video. I hope your day is going really well, and let's get right into it. Alright, so the reward pass. This is something that Niantic has been testing out in New Zealand, and it's something that they intend to release all around the world. It's basically a reward track. It's going to be what they call a reward road, and depending on how much you spend in Pokemon Go, you're gonna get various bonus items for spending money in the game. And this is something that's not new. This is something that you do see in other free-to-play games, especially those that have heavy monetization, and it's about time that something like this would make its way to Pokemon Go, and it's something that I've actually talked about in the past. Now, what are my thoughts regarding this? Well, let me just say right off the bat, this is going to be extremely controversial, and I think a lot of people are going to be extremely upset with me for saying this. But I'm actually okay with this being in Pokemon Go. I actually think something like this could be a good benefit for Pokemon Go players. Huh? The reason why I say that is because very often when it comes to in-app purchases, we basically get a lot of different really good purchases, like some bundles end up being really good, but other times those bundles end up being a huge ripoff, especially compared to previous bundles. But at least with this is going to be something for players who choose to spend money in the game to actually get a little bit of extra value. And I think something like that is always going to be okay, because not everyone is going to be spending money in Pokemon Go. But for those who are spending money in Pokemon Go, at least they're going to be getting some additional value for the money that they're spending. So I do think this is a good thing, honestly. The way it currently is being tested right now, I think that system is actually something worthwhile for Pokemon Go players, especially those who spend money. And for people who do not spend money, they're not going to be missing out on anything. There's not any kind of FOMO mechanic with this. They're not putting anything exclusive to this reward track. It's basically just there to give people who spend money some additional items, and I'm personally okay with that, even though I am a free-to-play player. So what are the negatives? I think there's plenty of those, and we do not necessarily have to list all of them. I think having something like this does have a lot of things that definitely worries me as a Pokemon Go player. Like I mentioned, there is a possibility that they would add exclusives to a reward track like this. That is something that we've definitely seen with other games that have a similar system. And I'm really glad that at least for this initial version of it, they're not going to be doing that. And I really hope they don't get any ideas. Because think about this, there is definitely a possibility in the future where they would release a legendary Pokemon or a mythical Pokemon that you could only get exclusively through this system. Meaning, if you want a particular mythical Pokemon, the only way you can get it is if you spend, I don't know, however much hundreds of dollars in order to get to that point in this reward track. That is definitely a possibility, and it's definitely something that they're starting to opening themselves up to. Like, that's definitely something they could do in the future, and that's something we as Pokemon Go players need to speak out against if they ever decide to do something like that, because if they ever do something like that, that's definitely going to create a sense of pay to win. You're not going to be able to get certain Pokemon, and the only way you're ever going to get those Pokemon is if you do these real money purchases. That's definitely something that's going to be detrimental for Pokemon Go. So yeah, in terms of negatives, that is definitely something that I can foresee being a problem in the future. And like I said, this is something Niantic is now opening themselves up to do. Now, another big problem with this is, of course, well, people who are going free to play, they're going to be essentially punished even more for going free to play. Like myself, I am almost 100% free to play when it comes to this game. The only Pokecoins that I ever get are going to be from gym battles, and the only time I ever spend money in Pokemon Go nowadays is with special event tickets, like the Wild Area event or the Go Tour event or Go Fest event. And I've not bought Pokecoins in Pokemon Go, I want to say for about 2 years now, and I don't regret that. I think my experiences as a free-to-play player has been pretty robust, And I think for myself, it's been something that I kind of hang my hat on. I think it's great to play free to play with Pokemon Go, especially because the return on investment hasn't been as good for me personally. I think for newer players, they could definitely get a lot more for their buck with every dollar that they're spending in Pokemon Go. But for someone like myself, I get no benefit from a system like this. Maybe if they were to have it so that if you spend Poke Coins, you could still get some additional items, I think that would be a good way to go. But from everything that I've seen, I think it's basically like how much money you spend is what's going to determine what rewards you get. Maybe I'm completely wrong here, maybe that's what they're testing out right now. But I think for free-to-play players, they're essentially missing out on a lot of really good stuff. And I think that's something Niantic should revisit, because if it were to be a thing where if you were to spend Poke Coins to get these items, I think that would go a lot better because, yeah, you could either get those Poke Coins from real-world money, but you could also get those Poke Coins from just playing the game with gym battles, and you're going to be rewarded for engaging with the game in that way. I think that's something Niantic should consider when it comes to this reward track, and I think it would go over really well with the Pokemon Go community. And I think one negative that a lot of people are pointing out is that the rewards that they're giving you with this reward track is actually not substantial enough to justify spending that much money. I mean, yeah, you're going to be getting these rewards just naturally if you are someone who just regularly spends money in Pokemon Go. But if you're someone who wants to see better rewards to actually get you to spend more money, then they're not really doing a good job with that with the current reward structure. But at the same time, this is something that they could adjust in the future as long as they do not include anything that's exclusive through this reward road program. I would be okay with that. Like if they were to add more items in the future to encourage more players to spend, that's totally on their prerogative. Like if they want to do that, they have full rights to do so. But I just would really hate for them to have exclusive Pokemon or exclusive items that you could only get from the reward program, and the only way to get those is by spending money. Again, that's my one big fear with this new system. I really would hate for them to do that, and it would set a huge negative precedent for this game moving forward, and I think a lot of people would be unhappy with it. But aside from that, if they were to increase the rewards in the future because players feel like they deserve more rewards for spending money, then yeah, let them do that. I think that would be great for spenders and people who want to spend money in the game. They should be able to get more. But of course, this is not going to do anything for people who are free to play, and I think that's natural. That's usually how these systems go. But yeah, I think for the most part, this system is going to be something that we have to keep a close eye on as a Pokemon Go community. As it currently is right now, I'm totally okay with it, and I think for a lot of players, they might have different mixed feelings regarding it, but at the most part, for people who spend money, this could be something really good for them, and I'm totally cool with that. I think for a lot of people who are spending money in this game, they're not getting a good return on their investments, and I think this is one of the ways that Niantic could essentially give back to those players. No matter what, if you do not want to spend money in Pokemon Go, you should never feel obligated to spend money. I think the way the game is set up right now, you could still enjoy the game if you're completely free to play. They still offer you enough with all of the different in-game events. I know recently they've been pushing a little bit more into the monetization aspect of it, but at the very least, there's still free to play methods for certain Pokemon. And, you know, even though I complain a lot about all the pay to win mechanics and all of the monetization that's been happening, I still think at the very end, you can still enjoy this game free to play. That's definitely a possibility, and it's something that Niantic has not too far strayed away from as of late. Maybe in 2025 it's going to be a completely different story. I think a lot of the things that they've been doing recently with in-game events has been pretty egregious, with some of the best Pokemon that you could get, some of the new Pokemon you can get only being locked behind premium content instead of the wild. Like, yeah, a lot of that stuff I'm really unhappy about. And at the very least, you can still get this stuff if you're lucky. Like, if you have to hatch 7-kilometer eggs in order to get a Galarian Corsola, yes, technically you can still get it for free, but, you know, it's going to be more realistic for you to spend money to get that Pokemon. But I did not get a Galarian Corsola when it was out. I did not hatch enough eggs to get one. I do not have enough incubators to hatch one. I do not spend money to buy incubators. So I missed out on that Pokemon, and I do not feel like I missed out on anything, because I think someday in the future I will eventually get that Pokemon. I'm not in a rush to get it right now. I still plan to do some PvP content without Galarian Corsola. I know it's considered one of the best Pokemon you can have for the Great League, but I'm not missing out. I don't feel like I'm missing out, and it's really a mentality thing. If you feel like you're missing out because you're not spending money in this game, then that's something you need to reevaluate. I know for newer players, they're definitely going to feel that because they do not have all the legendaries that people who have been playing the game for years already have. So for them, maybe it is a case where they feel like they need to spend money in order to catch up. That's totally understandable. But for the rest of us who have been playing this game for several years and you feel like at this point there's no real reason for you to spend money in this game, then I totally feel for you. And I really hope this whole reward track, this reward road, doesn't encourage you to do something you do not want to do. That's definitely what's going to cause this to become a big negative thing. But as of right now, the way that it's currently set up, I don't think it is that, but who knows, maybe in the future they're going to make it that. And then at that point, this is definitely going to be a terrible thing for Pokemon Go. But for now, I'm totally okay with it. But in any case, that's going to be it for this video. Let me know your thoughts regarding this reward track down below. Are you completely against it and you feel like it's a huge detriment for the game? Again, I may not necessarily agree with you, but maybe you can change my mind. If you do think of really good reasons aside from the things that I've talked about, then definitely share them down below because I would like to know what you are thinking, and yeah, hopefully we can have a great discussion. But with that said, that's going to be it. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you on the next one.